Welcome to Instant Deck Techs. The aim of this series is to give you a short, concise guide on how to build a certain deck. It won't cover every card, but we'll go through all the categories and go over the types of cards needed to make the deck work. Any card mentioned will be down in the description below. The commander of this deck is Yurlok of Scorch Thrash. He is 1 black, red, green for a 4/4 legendary creature, Zhur-Taa Shaman. It has Vigilance, and the ability, a player losing unspent mana causes that player to lose that much life. It also has 1 untap, each player adds black, red and green. So, Mana Burn is back everyone. The aim of this deck is to flood our opponents with mana and effects that tax their lands. The optimal build of this deck is a difficult one to build on a budget. Mana Burn stopped being a thing in 2009, so a lot of the cards that work well with it are either a little old, and the newer ones are played in a lot of other commander decks. I will go over some budget options at the end. The first part of the deck is giving our opponents mana. The aim is to drown them in mana so it will be impossible for them to use it all and then take damage from it. There are some effects we want to run that will increase the amount of mana that their lands tap for. And there are also effects that directly gift mana to our opponents. I would want at least 8 bits of the 2 effects, so we have a good chance of seeing one in our opening hand. The next section of the deck is about taxing players whenever they do anything. We mainly want effects that tax players for using their lands, but this section is all about piling on the damage to every player. Again, you want 8 of these, so you see one in your opening hand. The third part of the plan is making sure everyone uses all the mana that we are giving them. Using effects that tap down people's lands, or make them cast spells only during their turn, will incentivize them to use all their mana in one go, as otherwise they won't be able to cast their spells and they'll just be sitting there doing nothing. Again, we want 8 of these effects. The last part of the plan is running effects that break the symmetry of all the horrible things that we are doing. All examples here will add to the damage our opponents are taking, meaning that when the dust settles, we will be the only ones left alive. In the vein of breaking symmetry, these cards here all stop us losing mana as we go through phases. As such, it will stop us taking damage from Yurlok. For this build, and for the ramp of the deck, I would recommend not running effects that get land into play, as lands will be busy hurting everyone. You can either play Dorks and Mana Rocks, or maybe a combination of the two. For our card draw, we're looking for things that help synergize with the rest of the deck. We want things that either benefit us from our opponents taking damage, or things that actually deal damage to our opponents, or mana sinks, so we can dump all our excess mana into them. Again, we want at least 8 of these effects. Jund should have no problem killing anything it needs to. Run the best 4 targeted removal spells, and the best 4 board wipes you have access to. We can run up to 4 effects that untap our commander, so we can activate it multiple times a turn. If we equip Umbra Mantle, or Sword of the Peruns to Yurlok, with Leyline of Abundance out, it will create infinite mana for our opponents. We'll be fine however, as we'll be spending all our mana tapping and untapping Yurlok. If they don't have a mana sink, they will then die when we move phases. For some other win conditions, I'd want to play some big X spells to win us the game. These can either be on direct damage spells, drain spells, or big dumb hydras. Run between 4 and 8 here, and run whatever you fancy. For the mana base here, I wouldn't run too many utility lands. We're probably running cards that punish non-basic lands, so I'd only want to run lands that fix our mana where possible. For some budget options, there are plenty of group slug effects that can repeatedly deal damage to our opponents. These can all take the place of some of the more expensive cards I mentioned earlier. Another budget way you can take the deck is by gifting all our opponents lands. We can rely on our opponent's hubris to be their downfall. If going in this direction, I would run more X spells, so you can really take advantage of all the mana that you'll have. With all these lands we've been generously gifting our opponents, we can kill them to death with treacherous terrain. If you take the cards from the budget options and combine them with the cheaper cards in the main deck list, I still think you can come up with something very, very fun and very unique. Thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and let us know down below if there's any decks you would like to see a deck tech on.